So today we want to look into the subject titled 12 Indisputable Core Values of a Transformational Leader. The reason why we call these values indisputable is because a transformational leader cannot claim to be one if he does not, or if she does not possess these 12 indisputable core values. They are what a transformational leader must be before he can begin to discharge his responsibility, or before he can begin to perform his function as a transformational leader. These 12 indisputable core values are what I call the structural pillars that bounds a transformational leader together, and it is the bedrock upon which you build the legacy of a transformational leader. So if you see anyone out there trying to parade himself or herself as a transformational leader, and you cannot find these 12 core values in them, please note that such a person does not qualify to be called a transformational leader. Like I said, there are 12 core principles or values of a transformational leader. But then there are two principal core values. They are, if I want to list the core values of a transformational leader in the order of their importance, I would rather say that these two core values are the number one and number two of a transformational leader. These are the two inseparable sides of a transformational leader, and I have chosen to call them the two sides of a coin. You know, when you hold a coin, whether you are holding, I don't know if we still have coins in Nigeria, but if you are holding any coin, whether in US or in the UK, you know there is always two sides to every coin. You have the head and you have the tail. So these two core values are the head and the tail of a transformational leader. Without the presence of these two core values in any transformational leader, let me tell you emphatically that there is no such thing as a transformational leader. And the one side of that inseparable side of a coin, on one side we have reliability, and on the other side we have accurate knowledge or precision of the destination, which I also call the law of the compass. In other words, a transformational leader must be reliable. It is important. You cannot claim to be one if you are not reliable. If people cannot rely on you, if people cannot hold your word for what you have said, then you do not qualify to be called a transformational leader. And I've always believed that one of the principal quality that set apart any leader from the pack of the card is your ability to possess an accurate knowledge of where you are taking your organization to. A transformational leader must possess precision of the destination of where is leading the people to. So these are the two core values that set themselves apart from the rest of the 12 indisputable core values of a transformational leader. But then I want to do justice to each of those values one after the other. So we are going to start with reliability of a leader, which is also which we can also call the trustworthiness of a leader. A transformational leader must be a reliable and a trustworthy leader. Nothing more, nothing less. Your people or your team members must be able to rely on you. Your yes must be yes. Your no must be no. People must be able to depend upon you. That is another concept or another synonyms that we can use to qualify the trustworthiness of a leader. You must be dependable. There is no team member who wants to work for a man or a woman that cannot be depended upon. A leader that cannot be depended upon is not going to last in his leadership responsibility for a long time. You must be dependable. People must be able to depend on you. People must be able to rely on you. You see, we are just going to be interchanging those words because that is what it is. Another synonyms that you can use to qualify the trustworthiness of a transformational leader is that a transformational leader must be honest. Honesty must be your watchword. You must not be a dubious leader. You must not be a leader who lives in deceit. And if you look around, these are some of the problems we have in our society today. How many leaders or our political leaders or our church leaders out there can we say they can be depended upon? How many of them can we say hold the quality of being honest in their position? I learned recently that the Minister of Justice in China is going to be sentenced to death. You know, that is China for you. And what did he do? The record showed that he collected $16 million bribe from somebody. And because the system has found him out, they do not care whether he was once upon highly placed in the society, he is going to face death, either by hanging or by whatever means. So that is what we are talking about. Honesty is hard to find in our society today. And when you come to Africa for that matter, that is where you become very sick and tired of the kind of people that are parading themselves as leaders. But we are the one to change all that. And the change has to begin from you. It has to begin from me. We cannot effect that change outside without we initiating the change. Another synonym to qualify the trustworthiness of a transformational leader is that a transformational leader must be honorable. He must be honorable. You must be able to carry yourself with dignity. You must be able to carry yourself in such a manner that people can see honor and dignity written all over you. You mustn't just be walking about as somebody who does not place a value on himself or herself. A transformational leader must be honorable. You must carry yourself with honor. Your aura must be such that attracts people to you, not such that is repelling people away from you. And another word, of course, is a transformational leader must be worthy of trust. And that is all that we have been talking about. You must be able to earn the trust of your team members. I'm going to be using less of followers because that is not the complete truth about leadership. Leadership is not just you being a leader and having followers. It is having team members, people you are working along together with. Because when we talk of leadership followership, people tend to think that there are people that are born to be followers. But every one of us are leaders in our own right. So long as you have a leadership group, or so long as you have your own divine endowment, that is your own personal leadership. So I'll be using more of team members rather than saying followers. So you must be able to earn the trust of your team members. They must be able to entrust, they must be able to give their permission to you to be able to lead them. Another synonym is that a transformational leader, we're still talking about trustworthiness, must be full of integrity. He must be full of integrity. There is no dubiousness. There is no deceit. There is no deception. You are open, you are plain. People can see you for what you are. You are not just open, you are not just plain. You are also vulnerable to your team members. You are not a kind of leader that is living a pretentious life. Your integrity is there for everyone to acknowledge. Another concept or synonyms of a transformational leader is that a transformational leader must be credible. I think we talked about this last week when we are talking about uh, the precondition for becoming a leader. A transformational leader must just be credible. And what is credibility? Credibility is building a reputation for yourself over a long period of time. That is what credibility is. You have to start with a reputation, then you have to be consistent with that reputation until it becomes a credibility. That means a transformational leader must be credible, and credibility is built over a long period of time. Another synonyms of a trustworthiness of a transformational leader is that a transformational leader must be authentic. It must be authentic. People must be able to see you for what you are. Don't try to project what you are not to people. Let people see you as you are. Don't try to live a fake life. Don't try to live a life that is something in the public and something else in the private. You must be authentic to the people that you're providing oversight over. And another synonym of the trustworthiness of a transformational leader is that a transformational leader must be believable. It must be believable. People must be able to believe what you say. People must be able to know that where you are taking them to is where you have promised them. You must not be such a leader who is promising to take people to point A, but along the process you decided to divert their attention to another route. No, people must be able to believe you. The politicians we have in Nigeria, particularly the government that we have in Nigeria today, in 2015, they promised us change. About 7 years after, we know that nothing has changed. That is deceit. That is not the kind of leadership that we are talking about here. People must be able to credit you for what you have said. You must be believable. Another synonym for the trustworthiness of a leader is that a transformational leader must be ethical. Now, I'm trying to bring the different aspects of the trustworthiness of a leader so that you will know that Trustworthiness or reliability is not something you can joke with. A transformational leader must be ethical. Your yes must be yes, your no must be no. You must be able to have a good sense of what is right and what is wrong. People must know that as a transformational leader, you will never conduct yourself around things that are not ethical. As a transformational leader, you are not found among people who collect bribes or who induce people with bribes. You must be ethical. Another synonym to describe the trustworthiness of a transformational leader is that a transformational leader must be steadfast. That means you must continue to be in pursuit of your goal. You see, a leader that is not steadfast is not going to have people following him for long. If people cannot see consistency in you, if people cannot see that you are willing and ready to keep on keeping on, people are not going to keep faith with you. You must be such a leader who is steadfast, who is not easily distracted, who is not easily ready to give up on an idea. You must be able to follow through whatever project that you have committed yourself and your team members to. Another synonym for to describe the trustworthiness of a transformational leader is that a transformational leader must be convincing. You must be able to convince people that you are true, you are genuine, that you are ready to take them to the summit of their destiny. You must be convincing. People are not going to follow you if you cannot convince them that you are taking them to a place where they have never been. And one of the function or responsibility of a transformational leader is to take people to a place where they have never been. Is to take people to a place where the transformational leader himself has only been to in his imagination. So you must be able to convince people that where you are taking them to is the right place to take them to. You must be convincing. And lastly, the, the last synonym to use to describe the trustworthiness of a transformational leader is that as a transformational leader, you must be unchanging. In other words, you must be consistent. In other words, you must be constant. You know, people always say that the only thing that is constant in life is change. But as a transformational leader, you want to be consistent. You don't want to be unstable as water. One thing about water is that water can decide to take different forms and shape depending on the temperature. Water can decide to be ice today, it can decide to be warm tomorrow, it can decide to be hot another day, it can decide to become a vapor, it can even decide to become a frozen block. So you can see that water is highly unstable, and you don't want to be such as a leader. You don't want to be unstable as water. You want people to be able to see consistency in all that you do. You see, people over time are not going to judge you for what you have done in a day. They are going to judge you for what you have done over a long period of time. And that is where consistency must come in. Now, the second core value, which is the, let me say, the tail of the two inseparable side of a coin of a transformational leader, is that as a transformational leader, you must possess what I call precision of destination. you must know where you are going. If you don't know where you are going, there is no point taking people on a journey. As a transformational leader, you must know where you are going. A transformational leader must possess accurate knowledge and precision of where is leading his or our people. This is very crucial. This is very fundamental. When we are talking about the precision of destination, we are talking about a leader that is visionary. If a leader does not possess a vision, you don't have any business being in position of leadership. It is clear to every one of us that the government that we have in power today in Nigeria does not have a clear precision of destination. They just want to be in power for the sake of just being in power. Obviously, after 7 years, we know that they are not taking us anywhere. But that is not the kind of leader you want to be. You want to be a leader who knows where he's going and who is willing to take people on that journey. As a transformational leader, you must have a vision with correctness and definiteness. You must be able to say in specific language what you want to accomplish as a leader. And as a transformational leader, you must be able to achieve this preciseness by being meticulous. When we are saying that you should have definiteness of purpose, we are not saying that you know everything that you will need to do to get there as a leader. No, that is not what we are saying. The most important thing is that you have the big idea of where you are taking the people to. Then the next thing that you built into that idea is that you must be able to put details into that idea. That is why I said you must be able to achieve that preciseness by being meticulous. Being meticulous just involves putting detailed plans to the big vision that you have for the organization. You must be able to put plan to it. You must be able to put details to what you have already seen in your imagination. And believe me honestly, trustworthiness and precision of destination are the two inseparable requirements for being a good leader or a good guide. If you want anybody to lead you, these are the two things you must watch out for in their lives. Are they trustworthy? Do they have a precise knowledge of where they are leading the organization to? Now, having spoken at length about the first two core values, which I call the two inseparable side of a coin, I want to talk about the other core values, which may not necessarily be in the order of their importance. So the next core value we want to talk about is the humility of a transformational leader. Humility of a transformational leader. A transformational leader must acknowledge the value of being teachable by understanding that he does not know it all. I'm sure you have seen some leaders who believe that they must possess uh, every knowledge more than the people that they are leading. They believe they know it all. They believe they must always be able to solve every problem that people brings to them. Uh, for the fact that you are a leader doesn't mean you are able to solve every problem. That is not your job as a leader. In fact, your job as a leader is to make people solve problems, not to be solving problems yourself. So as a leader, you must be able to hone it up to the people you are leading that you do not know it all. And it takes great humility on your part as a leader to be able to let people know that you don't possess all the knowledge that there is in this world. You must be teachable. You must be even be willing to learn from the least person among your team members. So this is very, very important. As a transformational leader, you must always have a reference point for every of your action. You must have somebody you are referencing. There is nobody in this world who is an island on his own or her own. All your knowledge, you gain it from somewhere, and that is your reference point. A leader that does not have a reference point is a dangerous leader. So you must be able to humble yourself and recognize the people that you are referencing in every of your action. As a transformational leader, you must be willing to seek counsel before making major life-related decisions. You are not just sitting there in your chair and taking all the decisions by yourself. You know what the Bible says? In the multitude of counselors, there is safety. If you don't want to injure yourself as a leader, you have to seek counsel. There are people who know certain things more than you. Go after them and learn from them. As a transformational leader, you must be able to check your inner motive. It's part of the humility of a leader. When you are making decisions that affect people's life. There are people today who are leading people, but they don't care about the people they are leading. They just make decisions on their behalf without any recourse to whether those decisions are going to serve the people they are leading better. But for you, you must be able to check your inner motive over every decision you are making that you know will affect the people that you are leading, will affect the life of people that you are leading. As a transformational leader, part of your humility must be demonstrated in your ability to view life from the Creator's perspective. You must not just think that you are in this world as an accident. You are not a biological accident. You are a creature that was predestinated. I've always believed in a ground designer, and I've always believed that there is a creator somewhere who designed the entire universe. So if you must be successful as a transformational leader, you must have that viewpoint, and you must view life from that creator's perspective. You must not just think that you are just a result of an evolution. You must be able to view life from the creator's perspective. Part of being humble, or part of the humility of a transformational leader, is that a transformational leader must not be presumptuous, but must verify all things. As a transformational leader, you don't want to be assuming things. You don't want to believe that things will always be the way it should be. You want to verify all things. You must not be presumptuous. You must not be assuming things. You must be able to verify all things by yourself. And that is what makes you to be effective as a leader. Another core value of a transformational leader is that a transformational leader must be self-aware. You must have self-awareness. There are a lot of people today who does not have self-awareness. And as a leader, one of your core function is to know where you stand. You must be able to acknowledge your weaknesses. You must be able to acknowledge your shortcomings where necessary. You see, there is no one leader that possesses it all. We all have one areas where we are not always very good. And you know, the beauty about it, even when you pretend you don't know you have weaknesses, the people you are leading know that you have weaknesses because it is so obvious to them. They know your weak area. So you trying to put up a bold face, trying to deceive people as if you are a perfect leader, it doesn't make it. Like we said last week, there is a myth to believe that a leader must be flawless. Leaders can always have weaknesses, and that is fine. But it is important for you to know as a leader that you possess these weaknesses. And what do you do about your weaknesses? There is nothing much you can do about your weaknesses because you are already weak in the area. What you can do is to be aware of them and provide support for yourself in the area of your weakness. Look for people that have strength in those areas where you are weak and empower them to assist you in those areas. A transformational leader, part of your awareness must be that you must be able to demonstrate self-awareness in the Creator's ownership of all things in the universe. You mustn't think that everything is just at your command. You must not think that you can just say to A, go, and it goes, and you say to B, come, and it comes. No, you must have an awareness that there is a creator who owns all things, including you, in the universe. And it takes self-awareness of a transformational leader to be able to come to that point. Another core values of a transformational leader, which is number 5, is that as a transformational leader, you must consistently do what I call validations of your motives, or validation of your motives. The question you must be asking yourself always must be, why am I doing what I'm doing? A lot of people don't always engage in that questions. They don't ask themselves such a question. Why am I doing what I am doing? Another question you want to ask yourself as a transformational leader to validate your motive is to also ask yourself, who am I doing what I am doing for? You need to find out if it is for you, for your selfish gain, or if it's for God or your creator, or if it's for your team members. You must be able to clarify your motives. Why am I doing what I am doing? And I believe that the failure of many leaders lies in the fact that they don't want to ask themselves this honest question. Your motives really matters, and I encourage you to purify your motives in prayer and align it to your original purpose in life. Another core value of a transformational leader, which is value number 6, and I said, remember, these core values are indisputable. You cannot omit any of these values. That is what I mean to say. So another core value is that as a transformational leader, you must shun unhealthy comparison. And I wish I can say more than I can tell you about this in this session. A transformational leader must not engage in unhealthy rivalry or vain competition with other men. You must always, even if you want to compete, always compete with yourself. You see, my own philosophy is this: rather than comparing myself with another person, rather than competing with another man, this is how I compete with myself. The version of Olusegun today is always competing with the version of Olusegun of yesterday. And this is my take. The version of Olusegun today must be better than the version of Olusegun yesterday. And this is the tension that I have always kept myself within. I had always wanted to be better than where I was yesterday. And that is how I have been able to manage my own life. I don't have anybody I'm competing with. I am not in a race with anybody. I'm in a race with myself. If I am better today, it's because I am better than who I was yesterday, not because I was better than somebody else. And I think this is where a lot of our educational system has done injustice to all of us. Our educational system has always mandated us to be better than other people. But if you really want to be successful as a leader, you cannot afford to be living in that kind of world. You cannot compete yourself with other people. The person you should be competing with is yourself. Yourself tomorrow, who you will be tomorrow, must be better than who you are currently. And that is how it should continue to be. Those who compare themselves with others are not wise, so the Bible says. So you don't want to compare yourself with Venerable S.F. Michael, or you want to compare yourself with some other colleagues in this Institute of Clinical Pastoral Education cohort members. You don't want to compare yourself with them, but rather you want to be in competition with yourself. You want a better version of you to always emerge day by day. So another core value of a transformational leader, which is value number 7, is that as a transformational leader, you must be able to walk alongside others. You must be able to walk alongside others. There are 3 core responsibilities of a transformational leader, and I'm going to mention them. Transformational leaders nurture people. In other words, you must be able to care for people. That is your job. As a transformational leader, you must be able to nurture people. As a transformational leader, you must be able to equip people. And how do you equip people? By training people. Another responsibility of a transformational leader is that you must be able to empower people. I have seen people who tries to nurture and to equip people, but they are not willing to empower. But for you as a transformational leader, part of your responsibility must be to empower your people. And when you are empowering them, what are you doing? You are releasing them to be able to function in their own leadership assignment or responsibility. And transformational leaders do all these 3 by working alongside people, taking the journey together with them. They do not stay above people. That is what a lot of people, that is what many leaders are doing today. They want to be above, they want to be the boss. We are not talking about a boss here. We are talking about you rolling your sleeve and walking along with your people. Let's move to the next slide, which is slide number slide number 10, but core value number 8, which means as a transformational leader, you must not take credit for your leadership ability or giftedness. I have seen a lot of people who are gifted in one. You see, your gift as a leader is your personal leadership. If you have a gift of singing, for example, that is your personal leadership. If you have a gift to play soccer, that is your personal leadership. If you have a gift to preach and teach, like a number of us, that is our personal leadership. But what we are talking about here is that you must not take credit for that leadership ability or giftedness that you possess. You must not be delusional, thinking that your leadership ability or giftedness was primarily your own or for your own selfish end. Rather, you must realize that it was given to you to benefit others and to preserve posterity. You must not take credit for what was already given to you as a gift. Another core value of a transformational leader is that as a transformational leader, you must be able to provide inspiration for other people. That is what you are as a transformational leader. A transformational leader is primarily a life giver. You must be able to give people life. That is what it means to inspire. You are giving life to other people. You are giving people what it takes to live their own life. You are like a candle who is able to lit other candle without losing anything. That is who you are. You must be able to inspire people. And you must be able to provide inspiration to others to accomplish great things for themselves, just like you have accomplished for yourself. That is your responsibility. That is your job. That is one of your functions as a transformational leader. The life of a transformational leader is like a spectacle through which common people can see what is possible in their own life too. That is who you are as a transformational leader. You are like a spectacle. You are like a lens. You are like these glasses I am putting on my eye. And you know the function of these glasses? It enables me to see better. It enables me to see further. It enables me to see what I could not ordinarily see with my ordinary eye. And that is what you are as a transformational leader to other people. You must be able to give life to people so that they can see what is possible in their own life too. Another core value of a transformational leader is that as a transformational leader, you must crave a modest instead of a luxurious life. And we know that this is one of the problems of many leaders in Africa today. If you see somebody, even if you see a local government chairman, he wants to be parading himself as the Queen of England or as the king. They now have a king now, as the King of England. You don't need all that. You know, you must be simple, you must be approachable, your life must be able to minister to people. You must crave a modest life. Modesty must be your watchword. You must express satisfaction in everything that you do and over everything that you have. You must not be such a leader who is always craving for things. You must pursue inner peace above recklessness and extravagant lifestyle. This is one quality that I believe is missing in the life of many African leaders today. They always want to live a luxurious life. And that is why you will see a man will start a great company, and after he's dead, the company will also die with him. Why? Because he, rather than building the company for the future, he is only building the company that will only serve his ego in the present. So you don't want to be such a leader. You want to be a leader who craves modesty and expresses satisfaction over what he or she possesses. Another core value of a transformational leader is that as a transformational leader, you must be able to handle criticism skillfully. I cannot say enough about this. A transformational leader must be adept in evaluating positive criticism from demoralizing criticism. You must be able to distinguish between the two. It is not all criticism that are bad. Some can help transformational leaders to redirect their life when they go wrong. You see, as a leader, you will not always be right. And people are going to criticize you whether you like it or not. And some of those criticisms are not going to be bad ones. There are going to be some that are good that you can learn something from. Criticism can help transformational leaders to take a detour to their ultimate destination. No, when you are taking a detour to your ultimate destination, it does not mean you are abandoning your destination. It does not mean you are abandoning where you are going. It only means you are taking another route to your ultimate destination. And criticism can offer such support for us, especially when they are good criticism. A transformational leader, of course, I will say, must learn how to ignore demoralizing criticism. Somebody said, if you don't want to be somebody, then be nothing. If you don't want people to criticize you, then don't do anything. Unfortunately, even if you don't do anything, people will still criticize you for not doing anything. So why not engage something meaningful with your life? And last of all, the 12th core value of a transformational leader is that a transformational leader must help others to grow in their leadership journey. You must help others to grow in their leadership journey. And that is what you want to commit yourself to as a transformational leader. You want to be a primary motivator for your team members. You want to encourage them to be the best version of themselves. So you want to be the best version of yourself. The ultimate dream of a transformational leader is to help others become his climbing companions. And that is what we are trying to do in School of Transformational Leadership. We are trying to raise climbing companions so that they can reach the summit of their calling in life. Helping others grow is only possible when a transformational leader is growing himself. And how do you grow as a transformational leader? You grow by reading books and other relevant resource materials, by reading books, by going through conferences, by doing this kind of leadership talk that we are doing. by ensuring that you are better than what you were yesterday. When a leader is growing, the organization will grow. When a leader is not growing, the organization will stagnate. So you want to help other people to grow by growing yourself as well. As I conclude, the 12 indisputable core values taught in this lesson are the fundamental driving forces of a transformational leader. The good news is that you too can develop these values and excel in your leadership journey by practicing them. Thank you. Do we have any questions? If you want to ask a question, this is the time before we move to the next subject that we want to talk about. I believe we all have a question. If you probably maybe you want to type your question, that will also be welcome. Do we already have a question typed? Okay. Okay, somebody's acknowledging this session. We thank you, sir. God bless you, sir. Oh, somebody is saying I should show the first 5 slides. Oh, probably maybe you missed that. Okay, I will do that in a moment. Yeah, this is the first slide where we started with 12 indisputable core values of a transformational leader, and then we looked at the first 2 core values, which are what I call the 2 inseparable sides of a transformational leader, and I liken it to a coin, to the 2 sides of a coin. And on one side we have reliability, on the other side we have accurate knowledge or precision of destination, which I also call the law of compass. The third slide, we try to do a little more exegesis, like a theologian, a little more exegesis on the reliability of a transformational leader, which is also known as the trustworthiness of a transformational leader. And we looked at about 12 different synonyms of trustworthiness. Slide 4, we talked about the precision of destination of a leader, where we said, as a leader, as a transformational leader, you must possess an accurate knowledge of and precision of where you are leading your organization to. And then we moved to the other side of the core values of the transformational leader. And I said they are not necessarily in the order of hierarchy, but if I were to list these core values in their orders of importance, I will write reliability and the precision of destination as the 2 most important core values of a transformational leader. But the others are not necessarily in their order of importance, and we talked about humility, self-awareness, validation of motives, shun unhealthy comparison, work alongside others, do not take credit for your leadership ability of giftedness, you must be a source of inspiration to others, you must crave a modest instead of a luxurious life, you must handle criticism skillfully, you must help others to grow in your leadership journey. And that is all that we've been talking about for the past 1 hour. Thank you. I believe I've been able to do justice to that. So if you don't have any other questions, we can move to the next.
Well, I wouldn't know whether I can chip in this question at this time.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Like the challenges of
Go ahead, sir.
The challenges of becoming we have a lot of challenges in this part of the world, especially in our system. When I say our system, our church system, the society generally, if one struggles to come up with becoming a transformational leader, and not the reaction of the system, but the people one is struggling to even lead, some of them will stand as a challenge to the change. They want to believe that as it were, so should it be. And we resist a lot of change. How do we cope with that in the light of this lecture, of this training? Because I'm seeing this as it's not even just a lecture, it's a training for us. If we want to imbibe it, we want to practice it, we want to really become a transformational under the leadership of those leaders. How do we cope with that? How do we maneuver our way?
Thank you, sir.
That's my question. That's the question I want. Yes, sir.
All right, sir. I think the question is very valid, and I will not pretend that there is an easy answer for it. It's not an easy one, but it is not impossible. What I've always believed, and just like we've been learning since last week, is that to be a transformational leader, it has to begin with you. And when it begins with you, like Mahatma Gandhi said, he said, you want to be the change that you want to see in the world. So before we begin to concern ourselves about other people, let the attention first of all be on ourselves, because you will come to believe over time that, or probably maybe some of us have seen it in our leadership, that the most difficult person to actually lead is not people but yourself. So because as a leader, sometimes your leadership, one part of your leadership is telling you to read a little more, to study a little more, to go for a conference. But another part of you is saying, why not watch a little more television? Why not go visiting friends? Why not do this? Why not do that? You begin to have this conflict within yourself, which, if you are not very skillful, you will always yield to the side of you that is always looking for more pleasure and pleasure and pleasure. I think we have begun well by starting with this training in our institute, and I think we can only take another step further by trying to you see, what you're already doing, sir, is what John Maxwell called assisted leader. You came in contact with this knowledge, and in the same way, you've been able to approach the bishop to tell the bishop, this is what I have seen, and I believe it's going to be good for us. And the bishop has asked you to go and take action on it. I believe that is how it begins. The task may be very daunting at the first stage, but along the way, we begin to see the positive effect on people and in the organization that we are leading. It's not going to be an easy task. I must tell you, all the transformational leaders that we studied about, want to talk of Mahatma Gandhi, want to talk about Martin Luther King, we want to talk about Nelson Mandela. These are people that were imprisoned for their leadership belief. They went to prison. In fact, one of them even spent 27 years in prison for holding onto a philosophy that this is what I believe. So it's not going to be easy, but it is not impossible. And the journey has to begin now. That is all that I can say. Thank you, sir. Thank you for that wonderful question. It's a question that we all need to continue to process until we are able to find the right answers to. Thank you, sir, for that question.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Do we have any other question? All right. If we don't have any other question,